What's up, good people? Let me get into position. It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder. Welcome to Finish Strong Friday here in the brand new suite. Y'all know what we do on Fridays. We've had a culmination of things that we've had to do this week, and it all comes to an end today. Why? Because we're focused and we're committed to finishing what we started this week. Every day this week, I gave you an assignment, didn't I? I asked you on Monday to take a look at your political capital. What percentage of your brand has a political capital strategy? I asked you to look at your social capital. What percentage of your brand has a social capital strategy to it? I talked about human capital. What percentage of your brand is using the human capital that you have, or do you need more human capital? There's a lot of more brands out here today that need more capital. These 12 forms of capital that I'm talking about this week and next week, these are the principles and ideas and insight that you need to have, the wisdom that you need to have in order to be able to create the innovative ideas that is going to move you from 2024 to 2034. We move from human capital to talking about intellectual capital. Are you using the intellectual capital that you have within your organization? Are you maximizing it? Are you using it to its fullest potential? These are things that you as the entrepreneur, you as the leader must think about and must implement. Nobody's going to implement them but you. You're the one that should know the human capital, intellectual capital that you have in your building, the human capital, the social capital, and the political capital. You set the tone for all of this. You as the entrepreneur set the tone for having these capitals, understanding these capitals, and then using these capitals. Today is going to be, this is the first half of it. We're going to talk about digital capital. Now, I mentioned digital capital earlier this week because it is a vital part of this 21st century. You can't be a 21st century leader without the use of, or having the use of, digital capital. So what is digital capital? Well, digital capital is the value that is derived from digital technology, from data and online presence that you have. So I'm gonna ask you this question: what digital technology are you using? Are you utilizing the digital technology that is available to you? Are you making use of it? Are you gathering the data that is needed in order for you to be able to maximize your presence, maximize how you serve those that you serve, and are you consistent and committed to having an online presence? There's some businesses, some brands that they don't want to have a digital online presence, and then you have some that it's not necessary. I think it is necessary to some degree for everybody, but it may not be to the degree of some folks. I know for my business, it is vitally important that I utilize my online presence, that I have an online presence. If I didn't do that, then I wouldn't be here with you all. If I deemed it not important enough or relevant enough, but it is, because I want to be able to have the maximum amount of exposure and to be able to have my business ecosystem operating at full capacity. I'm always trying to increase my business ecosystem and my network that I have, that I'm growing. If you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, digital capital is a vital part of that. Part of your digital capital has to be your CRM system. It has to be your computer system, your laptop computer, your phone. All of these digital supplies that we have and that we use in order to be able to do what it is that we do as a brand. Watching the movie Jobs, about Steve Jobs, and I tell people this all the time, he solved a problem that we did not know that we had. That's innovation, y'all. That's the value he created by creating digital digital technology. All because him and others like in Silicon Valley, all of those that said, hey, we have something in the digital space that we deem is going to revolutionize how we do business in this 21st century. And here we are. The way we do business today is not the way that we did business 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, 15 years earlier, 20 years earlier, certainly 30 years earlier. And I think about this, when I graduated college, there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter or whatever it's called, there was no Instagram, there was no LinkedIn. All of these technologies that we have, all of this digital capital that we have today, we have come in the past 30 years. In the past 30 years, this digital capital has shifted the way that we do business going into this 21st century. I want you to be a 21st century leader. I want you to be a 21st century entrepreneur. And what that means is you utilize your digital capital to be able to expand who it is that you are. You have the ability to be able to touch people completely on the other side of the world and not leave your house. That's how powerful your digital capital is. But if you don't take advantage of it, if you aren't utilizing it, you won't be able to do that. I have clients overseas now because of the digital capital that I invested in. What are you investing in digital capital? I want you to think about that today. The digital capital that you have, is it adequate? Is it below average? Is it average? Or is it above average? I want you to ask yourself that question today. Ask yourself, take a look at the digital capital that you have, which is your digital technology, the data that you have that you're able to get, and your online presence. I want you to look at it from that lens and ask yourself, is it below average? Is it average? Or is it above average? And here's the importance of that, because hopefully what you'll discover and what you'll see is in this digital age, effective utilization of technology, here's what it can do for you. It can assist you to streamline your operation, which means you're more efficient. And there's too many companies out here that are not streamlined or efficient. It'll help you or assist you to enhance your customer engagement. It'll be able to give you a more of a connection, not just communicating, but connection. It should give you a greater connection. And part of technology has kind of put a gap between customer engagement and customer connection. So you have to be intentional about staying connected to your customers. Yes, it can help you, the digital capital can help you learn more about them, But in that learning, it should make you more connected to them, not further disconnected to them. Because how many times do you now call your bank and you don't talk to anybody? You check you call, you put in numbers, and whatever. You can make a deposit right online. You don't even got to go in the bank. You can order your food, to your door from the grocery store. So it enhances the customer engagement. No, that's not. Well, in certain respects, it enhances the engagement, but in other respects, it doesn't bridge the gap. It actually creates a further gap in the connection and communication with those that you serve. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that there is a connection. You don't want to just communicate, which is them being able to fill out information or whatever, and them being able to do what they need to do. But at the same time, or in addition, you still staying connected to them because you have an understanding of who they are, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, who, who likes this and likes that. I told you about Marriott and me working for Marriott. The folks that were part of the Marriott VIP, or if you will, they frequently, Marriott's all around the country, and whatever Marriott they go to, their information transfers to that particular Marriott, so that when they check in or when they when they make a reservation, the reservation gives you all of the information, data that you need about them. Where they like, they like room with single bed, king bed, queen bed, double bed, suite, whatever it is. That it enhances the engagement in that respect. But you want to make sure that when that person, the clients that you're serving, that they still are connected to you. And I'm listening to a book called The Compound Effect. And it talked about, one of the examples it gave in there was the gentleman who wrote the book. He was given an example of a CEO that he was working with, and this CEO didn't connect with his employees at all. And so he gave him this assignment to walk the building at least a couple times, at least three times a week or something like that. Get out of his office, go and connect and communicate with his internal customers, which are his employees, and to acknowledge them and to see them and touch them, feel them, because the impact of that on you, your business, and your brand gives it one. And the same thing with your external customers, or those that you serve. When you're connected in that way, it shows that you are in touch with them and that you care about them. Whereas if you're just using the data, the data, and says here, and they don't have to see you, touch you, feel you, then you lose that connection. And I think this 21st century, the drawback to some of this technology and the digital capital is we've lost that connection. And as a result of that, that's why businesses are going out of business. I truly believe. And here's the last thing with digital capital. It can actually give you new avenues for growth. If you're a company that wants to grow, and you're looking to be able to expand your network, expand your brand, and expand your business ecosystem, this is what your digital capital can do for you. Morning, Sherry. Thanks for tuning in. That's what your digital capital can do for you. But you got to be intentional about it. You got to be intentional to use it, to have it, to use it, and to implement it. That's how you make the engagement better. That's how you make use of the technology that we have. Yeah, I believe everyone should take advantage of the technology that we have. Not everybody does. And you can see the difference between you and the others in your industry will be how you make use of not only your digital capital, but these other capitals that we've talked about all this week. Your political capital, your social capital, your human capital, your intellectual capital. That will make the difference between you and everybody else. This is why I wanted to do this, talking about the 12 forms of capital and why it's so important. And why it's important for you to be able to say, hey, you know what? I gotta have a strategy, a plan for how I'm going to use these different forms of capital. If Steve Jobs can make use and see these different forms of capital as he did, then you can be just as successful as he was in utilizing these forms of capital. But you got to want to do it. That's what Finishing Strong Friday is all about. It's taking a culmination of everything that I talked about this week and implementing it daily, like I mentioned to you. Having a strategy. What's my political capital? What's my social capital? What's my human capital? What's my intellectual capital? What's my digital capital? And I should have added, what's my financial capital? That's the money. And that must be included. And I'll talk more about that on Monday as we go into the second part of this series. But how are you maximizing the capital, the different forms of capital that you have? Those who are will be successful. Those who are not will not be successful. How successful do you want to be? On this Finish Strong Friday, what you do today will dictate how successful you want to be. I told you, these things that we're doing now, the decisions and the choices that you make today are made or should be made to get you to 2034. How do these forms of capital, what do they look like not only today, but what do they look like in 2034 for you? I want you to grasp that. I want you to think about that. That's what we got today. Finish Strong Friday, the digital capital effect. What effect do you want it to have on your business, you and your brand? And the effect that it's going to have is going to be determined by how you utilize it and how you implement it into your brand. If this is something that you want to go into more detail about, you want to sit down and strategize and put a strategy together with these forms of capital and what they look like for you, then connect with me. Like I said, this is a part of our entrepreneurial briefcase. This is the things that we do to be able to assist our clients, those that we serve, to be able to assist you to be able to reclaim your time and to actually be able to be more focused, more organized, and more strategic in spending time with your family, with your friends, and those that you serve. That's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to make you better by the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year. We're halfway through the year, and we still got another half to go. So let's do what we need to do. Make sure that we finish the first half of the year strong. Now it's time to take off in the second half of the year. In the third year, I told y'all, the 12-week year. That's what we're doing. The 12-week year. That's a book. You want to grab it so that you can recognize what I'm talking about. We push ourselves so that by the end of this year, we are far ahead of those that are in our industry and that we deem to be who we call our competition. We outperform. We don't compete. We don't compete here. We perform. That's what we do here in the Brand You Suite. So it's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. I'll put the links in the description so that you can connect with us, so that we can have those strategy sessions with you and be able to get you on the right track or started back in alignment with what it is that you're trying to do to be able to reclaim your time. We will see you all on Monday, and as I always say, do something fun this weekend. It's supposed to be pretty warm out there today, so you might want to go grab a snowball, grab some ice cream, something like that. Do something fun this weekend. Spend time with your friends, family, all of those things, but do something fun. We'll see y'all on Monday. Peace.